Welcome to the Reviews Without Remorse podcast with Joe and Dave. Be warned, the discussions in this podcast will contain detailed spoilers. For spoiler-free reviews of newly released films, please check out our channel Reviews Without Remorse on YouTube and VidMe. Enter at your own risk and enjoy the show.
And welcome to some kind of Reviews Without Remorse podcast. My name is David, and my blade traps the souls of my enemies. And doing the gyrating hips of building a doomsday machine is my main man, Joe.
What's up, partner?
This is episode 42, and in this show we will discuss DC Animation has released a trailer for the Elseworlds steampunk-style Gotham by Gaslight. We'll talk about it. We just realized we never talked about the Bob Ross-style Deadpool 2 teaser. Let's solve that! Many sources are saying Quentin Tarantino is in the running to direct a Star Trek movie? And lastly, because we don't want our fans accusing us of not following through, we close out our painful run-through of the DCEU with Suicide Squad.
Where's Katana with that blade when I need it?
Do you really want to be trapped in the blade of a DCEU movie?
Yeah, that's a good point there.
God. And I'm going to apologize to the audience in advance. I went to a Foo Fighters concert last night, and I sang most of the songs in, Dave Grohl style. And if you know the Foo Fighters and Dave Grohl, you know he kind of growls and screams. And you know what? I am no Dave Grohl. I'll say that much.
There's a butcher in this town preying on poor women, and the Gotham police stand twiddling their thumbs.
Your evening attire, sir.
That was not the suit I need, Alfred.
So, Gotham by Gaslight.
This looks kind of interesting, doesn't it?
Well, dude, the comic was freaking legendary when it came out. The idea of Batman in kind of a Victorian / steampunky style Gotham going after Jack the Ripper. Frickin' hey, give me that, man. The frickin' animation looks outstanding.
Yeah, these I tell you, these DC movies, the animated movies, I've said it before, as much as we goof on the struggles of the DC universe, cinematic universe, the animated series that they do, the animated movies they do, wow, they are all fantastic. They've done some phenomenal ones. I mean, they couple little bumps on the road here and there, but for the most part, they're really good. And this one, yeah, this looks really interesting.
Dude, even the worst of the DC animation is still better than anything, maybe save for Wonder Woman. The worst DC animated movie is still better than anything else in the DC EU movies at this point.
I would agree with that. They really do some spectacular things. So is this basically like it's kind of just the idea is that this is sort of Batman if Batman was sort of in the 1800s and
exactly
walking the streets with Jack Ripper?
Jack the Ripper, exactly what it's meant to be. It's brilliant stuff. It was a great graphic novel, and if you get a chance to check it out, do check it out. I'm sure that they have it at a bookstore somewhere. But nice. Yeah, no, and they've captured the look and the feel of it very, very nicely. I'm really looking forward to this. It's the first Batman product I've been looking forward to probably since the Lego Batman movie.
Well, we did get Batman versus Two-Face, which, by the way, we never actually talked about.
You know what? We do need to talk about that at some point, relatively soon, because I also watched it as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I thought they did again, just like the last one, a lot of fun, very interesting take on. I love how they sort of merge the 60s TV series Batman with other, comic elements of Batman or cinematic elements of Batman that we're more familiar with.
Yep.
It's pretty clever.
Indeed.
Like to watch Cesar Romero's Joker winking and flirting with Harley Quinn. Interesting, you know what I mean?
It definitely was a little surreal when they did that.
Yeah.
But yes, no, we're looking forward to Gotham by Gaslight. It's coming in 2018. Let's see. I have a. It's directed by Sam Liu with a screenplay by James Krieg. We've got Bruce Greenwood is doing Bruce Wayne and Batman, and if you haven't watched Young Justice, you'll know that Bruce Greenwood is a very good choice for Bruce Wayne. And the rest, the regular cast of characters. Oh my goodness, they got the guy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer to be Alfred, Anthony Head.
Yeah, very cool.
Yep, good stuff. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. Coming, doesn't have a date. Looks like January 23rd, 2018 is the current date.
All right, I'll be looking for it.
Hello there. Welcome back. I'm glad you could join me today. Let's just dive right in and run all the colors across the screen that you'll need to paint along with me. I have my regular old canvas here, wet and ready to go. Now, let's grab our trusty 2-inch brush here. Whack that off real good. Just beat it like it owes you money. We're gonna get a little dab of our yellow snow here. We're gonna mix that with just another little dab of our Betty White. Now, let's just dance in a happy little sky. Now remember, this is your world. You get to make and break the rules here. Sweet baby Jesus. Wish I could jump in there and roll around in all that cascading white powder. Yeah, just get high on all of life's splendor. God, I love cocaine.
Hi there, neighbors. Oh my God!
Was that awesome or what?
I just the freaking red goddarn afro alone was just
God.
like freaking worth it.
When I first, I don't know if I saw it. I didn't see it online first. I forget where I saw it now first. But it kind of took me by surprise, and I kind of went, what the heck is this? And then as I'm watching, I'm like, wait a second. And oh my God. And by the way, if you look for this online, you have to look for the Red Band trailer, because the Red Band trailer just gets a couple more little funnies get squeezed in there that don't get censored out.
Yeah. Just freaking gonna whack off this brush right here.
God, I love cocaine.
Oh, I don't want to just be sitting here quoting it, but it's really something that needs to be experienced. If for the younger viewers, he is doing an impression of a man named Bob Ross. Now, I have to believe that you've heard of Bob Ross. Bob Ross was this extremely kind-sounding guy who used to do a PBS show where he would paint. And he would just talk. He had this wonderfully soothing voice. He kind of did always sound like Deadpool said, like he was just always snorting cocaine or something like that or whatever. But he's just so calm, and he did these beautiful, beautiful paintings. And it's the perfect way of reminding everybody just how nuts Deadpool is and how awesome the sequel is going to be. And even that little preview of Cable at the end with just the mechanical hand was just enough to make me super happy.
The clips of the movie they actually throw in there look really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll just say
much.
it looks... I'm really looking forward to this one. Again, love the last one.
It is scheduled for June 1st of 2018. It is definitely on our calendar. And we'll probably be also reviewing the Deadpool movie, the first one, when we do that one.
I think so. Got to look at the schedule.
But yes, no, this looks freaking insane. And you know what? And to all the people out there, I know that there's been a lot more, in case the audience isn't aware, didn't remember, but we've talked about it a couple of times now, but the Fox-Disney merger talks has heated up like to a boil. Literally, there are sources saying that by next show, it's very possible we'll be talking about it actually happening. I wouldn't worry too much. People are saying, "Oh, well, that's going to be the end of Deadpool." It's like, I don't know. This movie makes money. I don't think Disney's going to care. No, it's an R-rated movie.
No, they'll call it a subsidiary and distance themselves a little bit, and just I mean that's again, don't forget, like, Disney created Touchstone because they wanted to start doing PG movies. So they did. There was a whole other branch that was doing that. Mm-hmm. If Disney gets these properties, I have no doubt they'll just say, "Look, you guys do it over there, and you just kind of pretend that we don't even know each other, just mail us a check.
I just want Deadpool showing up once. Just once. It doesn't have to be a big thing. Just kind of showing up and kind of like staring at the camera for a second with a little cockeyed head before kind of sneaking off. That's all we need in one of the movies. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Could just happen briefly in Infinity War. Be a great tension breaker.
Something, yeah. Oh my God.
I
mean, honestly,
doubt
truthfully, it really does sort of open the floodgates when you think about, like, because again, I mean, they've already said, like, we've got it all squared away through Phase 4. After that, we've still got a ton of stuff to do, but you got to figure, like, that still so much, that canvas is still ready to be covered up.
You know what? Feige has said on many occasions that they do have plans B and C if any properties come back to them. Mm-hmm. So they're relatively prepared.
Oh, I think they are. I'm positive. I mean, you have to figure they have to have a contingency plan for just Fantastic Four alone. I'm sure somebody there is saying, like if we get that property, how are we going to do it? And I'm sure they've already talked about it, and they've got ideas cooking. Oh my God, I'm dying for that. Could you imagine in our lifetimes seeing a good Fantastic Four movie? Is it possible?
Joe, I'm guaranteeing you, if this actually happens, Phase 4 is totally Secret Wars.
I could totally see it. Okay, all right. Now I got to calm down. Getting my hopes up.
Okay. You're all verklempt.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
All right, and speaking of interesting turns of events, Quentin Tarantino meets Captain Kirk. There's several sources are saying that Quentin Tarantino has a good shot of directing the next Star Trek movie.
Like he wants to do it, and they're talking, and he wants to make it happen.
Didn't we just discuss like less than 2 weeks ago that the only genre he hasn't tackled is sci-fi?
Did I not say that?
You totally
we just
called this,
and it was funny too because like you were like, what genre has he not? And like I was like sci-fi, like just blurted it right out. I mean, not just because it was the most obvious, And I was not really thinking anything of it, but then sure enough, 2 weeks later,
wow. I mean, if after the Sharon Tate movie, which I'm assuming he's doing first, or who knows, maybe he'll do it the other way around if depending upon the scheduling. But to cap off, if his 10th movie winds up being Star Trek, that man he may just spontaneously combust after the movie premieres. That might just be like it.
Yeah. That would. I mean, you really have to say to yourself at this point. I mean, it's funny because he actually, you wouldn't think he'd be a guy who would be interested in jumping into existing genres and wanting to sort of play in somebody else's pond. He, a few years ago, expressed interest in doing Casino Royale.
Right.
And in fact, in some respects, I think he was a lot of what he was sort of quoted as saying afterwards that he thinks that the whole reason Casino Royale did as well as it did was because he was showing interest in it and kind of getting them stirred up about what it could be. But anyway, he showed interest in James Bond, so now I guess I could totally see him being interested in Star Trek. The question is, what would he do with it? I don't know. I mean, would he kind of keep it in line with what's already going on? Would he really shake things up? I don't know.
All I know is it would have tremendous dialogue.
Would he dress Mr. Sulu up in a gimp outfit? I don't know.
Oh my. Oh my. Oh my.
Oh my God.
Oh God. I hope it's true. I really do. I would have zero problems with him taking the reins of a Star Trek movie because chances are he'll probably write it too.
Yeah, write it or work closely with somebody writing it. Sure. I mean, that'd be wow. Like, what would that be? It's.
I think
it's.
the
I
word
tell you,
you're
it's
looking
nice
for
too
is
because I
amazing.
like when we're. I don't. I'm getting to the point where I don't mind them rolling the dice and just kind of throwing something out there and just to see what happens. You know, I'm like I like these little jolts of creative sparks where it says, let's just let this one try that, and I fingers crossed.
Oh, one can hope. Maybe we'll actually get a really, really. I mean, we've had some decent Star Trek movies of the new ones, but a really, really good one, really heavy dialogue and stuff like that. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Would be nice. I mean, and it's great too because the earlier shows they were very dialogue heavy. They were very thoughtful.
Cerebral, I think was the word that they used to use.
Yeah. So I think he could really do something with this.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, here's hoping, guys. We got some interesting times ahead. We got a great looking Batman animated. We've got Deadpool. Maybe Deadpool comes to the MCU. We got Tarantino on Star Trek. And after all that, well,
is this the real life?
Let me out of here, Gotham, please.
Let me out of here, Batman! Is this just fantasy? Come on! Caught in a landslide. No escape from reality.
I want to assemble a task force of the most dangerous people on the planet.
They're bad guys. Worst of the worst.
Too late. Open the gate! My time has come. Send shivers down my spine.
Was this cheerleading trials?
All the time.
Hi, boys.
a secret government agency recruits some of the most dangerous incarcerated supervillains to form a defensive task force. Their first mission, save the world from the apocalypse. Written by David Ayer, directed by David Ayer. Ladies and gentlemen, Suicide Squad.
Wah, 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 wah.
Thank you. That's the review. Good night.
My number one stink bomb of 2016.
Today has been a very, very interesting day emotionally. I had this emotional high last night with seeing Foo Fighters with my kid. Then I got this emotional low with the drive home. Then I got this emotional high when the dog greeted me like I hadn't seen him in 10 years and just slobbering my face. And then emotional low because I had to watch this damn movie for the podcast. And then emotional high talking about all this stuff. And now here we are. Here we are. Some kind of reviews without remorse going through this. Okay, so let's see if we can find something good. Okay? Can we try that? Can we try to find something good?
We can try, sure.
Sweet. Okay. You know, the makeup on Killer Croc was good. It looked pretty good, I thought.
Okay. Oddly enough, I disagree. I don't, it's not that the makeup looked bad. I just don't like what they did with that character. I kind of felt like of all the times, 9 times out of 10, like when I see a full-blown CGI Jar Jar Binks type character, I kind of roll my eyes and I say, why can't you do it with makeup? Here, I'm saying to myself, I'd really much rather have a guy who looks more like an actual alligator, and I wouldn't mind if he was bigger and a little CGI'd or whatever. Here, we get a guy who he looks reptilian, I'll give him that. I don't know if he looks like what I would think of as Killer Croc, but...
No, nothing at all like Killer Croc, but Joe. This is an Oscar-winning movie because of that makeup. This is an Oscar-winning movie because of that makeup. I'm going to complain a lot about this movie. I don't agree with the look of Killer Croc, but I do agree that the makeup on him looked great. Like I couldn't see seams. It was
fine. Yeah, I mean he looked like I said, he looked reptilian. It was convincing, I suppose. It was fine.
Yep. Okay.
Some good casting. I'll give it that.
And Will Smith. Playing Will Smith, not playing Floyd Lawton.
Will Smith is playing Will Smith, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you're a Will Smith fan, yeah, there you go. Here's some Will Smith for you.
Yep.
I will say that I thought Margot Robbie did an excellent job as Harley Quinn. I think the lines of dialogue they gave her, some of it was absolutely cringeworthy. but
we're gonna get to
she gives a very good performance. I think she plays that character the way it's meant to be.
She understands the character. The movie doesn't understand the character, but she does.
Yeah, she understands it better than the movie does.
Yeah, which is painfully obvious.
Yeah.
So yeah, excellent casting there. The rest of the cast doesn't really have a lot of people of note. I kind of felt bad for the guy who played Flag, who basically had to introduce all the also-ran characters that didn't warrant a full CG, listing of their dossier and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, this is Slipknot. He can go anywhere. And the first thing I thought of when I saw him was like, there's our red shirt.
There you go. He can climb just everything. Oh, great. Okay.
5 seconds later, he climbed to his doom. Nice job, movie.
Yeah.
All over the posters and stuff like that. It's like we all knew he was going to die when he didn't get his own damn introduction. And then Katana. This katana, her sword traps the souls of her foes. And what the hell? For such a movie that tries to be visually appealing, and it does have some visuals that, I kind of dig, but it's like... Did you simply forget the show don't tell adage of film?
Yeah. I'll agree with you there too on the visuals, by the way. I think when they do the they only do like a couple of them, which is again kind of odd. They pick a few that they do that kind of neon dossier on in the beginning. That looked nice.
Yeah.
And frankly, if I was
a little different.
Yeah, I mean, it worked okay. Worked just fine. But yeah, I was a little strange that they only did that for just a handful of them.
Well, they did it for Deadshot. They did it for Harley Quinn. They did it for Boomerang, Captain Boomerang. They did it for Killer Croc, and they did it for El Diablo. They pretty much did it for the entire squad, except for Flag, and except for Katana. Those are the only two that.
Is that right? Okay, maybe they. Yeah. So I thought that was fine. Little dragged on a little too long. In fact, I mean, frankly, one of my big pet peeves about this movie, not to fast forward, but is the pacing of this film, because we're still doing introductions almost an hour into the film. The first hour of this film, I mean, they're literally leaving the prison it's just shy of an hour into this movie. And I purposely was watching the clock last night because we talked about this in our first and second episodes, because we talked about our, best and worst of last year, and I think we both had this on our worst from last year.
Oh yeah.
So we both, we had a little grumble session about it. But one of my problems was that it's like you're 45 minutes into the movie before you see your first little bit of action, and the action you get is garbage. I was watching the clock last night.
We're gonna go fight a bunch of black ink, whatever the heck's. Jeez, what the heck was that?
But yeah, I mean, it takes them like a whole hour to stop with the introductions and start moving, start doing something. And even, like I said, I mean, I got a lot of complaints about this movie, but one of them is that it's just so damn dull. I mean, it has to be one of the most boring movies I saw last year. I mean, for something that is hyped up to be an action-packed superhero movie, like the big squad to take out something, there is not much of anything.
The writer and director swore that this was going to be comic book 2.0.
Yeah.
What is it with the people? Here's another difference between the DCU. If we're going to keep bashing the whole difference between Marvel and the DCU, here's a big difference. Marvel shows and doesn't tell. DC pulls their pants down, waggles their penis in our faces like, hey, check this out, without having earned it.
Yeah.
Frickin' Zack Snyder making fun of Ant-Man, which right now has done better at the box office than Justice League. Ant-Man did better at the box office than Justice League. Let that sink into your head.
Oh my God! Doctor Strange did better. All kinds of things did better than Justice League. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Yeah. Incidentally, I was watching something yesterday, to your point about how DC drops their pants and wags it in your face to prove a point. I was noticing how in Civil War, there's an incident in the beginning where they're in another country fighting a group of people, and a bomb goes off and people are hurt. People are hurt. A few people are killed, and this is a big deal, right? It's a big deal, and it causes the reaction. After watching Batman vs. Superman again last week, they blew up the entire Congress. They blew up the entire government. And I'm saying to myself, it was like, and I kind of just, at the time I didn't even think of it, but I thought about it later. I'm like, for something that monumental, it never gets mentioned again. Like I'm saying to myself, so do we not have a government for the rest of this movie? I mean, is this like Designated Survivor, where like the entire government? Because I mean, when you watch that, the whole building goes up practically.
Yep, they make sure to show the smoke coming out of everywhere and flames and everything like that.
So they blow up the entire U.S. government,
or at least Congress. Yeah.
So to your point, see, Marvel keeps one foot in reality to show the consequences, to make you understand that there is some weight to the situation. Batman vs. Superman just blows up the whole Congress, and again, it never gets mentioned again. There's never anything, never a ripple effect that comes, the rest of the film, whatever.
And this movie, you would think, would mention something about that too, since Amanda Waller supposedly works for this supposed government that seems to still be functioning. And you either want to be a part of this cinematic universe or you don't. Okay? And this movie desperately wants to be part of the cinematic universe and wants to be kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy for the DC cinematic universe. But the problem is, the difference is this. Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, crazy flick, with characters that nobody's really ever heard of before, yet still managed to work because they got the heart and soul of each of the characters correctly, and they had a writer-director who believed in the characters as they were in the comics and presented them as such.
Yeah.
Okay? The only character from the comic that they kind of sort of got... was Harley Quinn. Everybody else was just kind of like, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, frankly, I feel like this whole movie exists because Harley Quinn had become such a popular character. So they were going to do something with her, and they figured, like, do her and the Joker. But, at the end of the day, I'll tell you what. Let's back it up a little bit, because I want to kind of mention, the kickoff of the film. One of the things we griped about is the music. I hate, and that to me is so typical of what's wrong with all of the DCEU movies. And I swear, I feel like if there's a theme that I keep kind of falling back on through all of these films, is that there's just such a lack of creativity. And that everything seems so by the numbers. It's so passionless in the storytelling. Even down to things like the music. Now, again, they did that trailer, right? They do the trailer that had it was Bohemian Rhapsody. Right. Yep. And the trailer's a big hit, so what do? They hire the actual trailer company to re-edit the entire film. There's a big old red flag right there. And of course, because they used a classic rock song in the trailer, well, now we're going to sprinkle the entire movie with classic rock songs, right? Now, that's not in itself so bad. What's bad is that they're the same songs that you've heard in every other film ad nauseum. It's like when you watch a Quentin Tarantino film or a Robert Rodriguez film, your musical library, your mental library of music is going to expand.
Yes,
they're going
always.
because they're going to introduce you to music you don't know about, haven't heard about, and it works so well with this film that you're hooked. Right?
Or even potentially that you may have heard like once or twice, but when you see it in a whole new light and context, it's suddenly like I knew Stuck in the Middle with You long before I saw it in in Reservoir Dogs, and it just takes on a whole other level when you see it there.
Exactly, it's a life of its own. And here in Suicide Squad, what we get again, just typical same old stuff that we've seen in every other movie soundtrack before. Like I felt like not only are these overused songs you've heard a million times, you've probably seen them in at least one other movie, if not several.
Movies, yeah, for sure.
So again, it was like they took one pass at it, and it's like, again, Amanda Waller Amanda Waller shows up. We'll do the Sympathy for the Devil. Oh, because she's the devil. Oh, and it's like they're all patting themselves on the back going, oh, get it? Because, the devil. Okay, boom, done, moving on.
For Harley's introduction, let's use You Don't Own Me.
Right.
Yeah, there we go.
Exactly. We're just unimaginative, it's like first pass at the script and we're done.
Safe. It's almost like a safe cop out.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna go for the safe things. Like every time frickin' movies from when the heart-wrenching movies from the 90s included Ain't No Mountain High Enough, like in them.
Yeah.
And now here we are with Suicide Squad, and they're pulling out all the tropes of all the stuff that you want to do for the gritty action movie with the characters you're not quite sure about, and we're going to use a song that symbolizes each of the characters.
Right,
Hell,
right.
man, I don't even remember the song they used for frickin' Deadshot. And they used one when they introduced frickin' Will Smith's character to us. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, Batman is a dick.
Batman is a dick.
He shows up while he's walking around with his daughter, starts fighting with him and saying, "I don't want to do this in front of your daughter." Well, then wait till he drops her off, jerk, and then arrest him. You know, like, come on. I mean, I will give it this, that I like the moment where the daughter jumps out in front of Batman.
Yeah.
That was a good moment, but again, it at the expense of Batman looking like a jerk. Like, hey, stupid, why would you do this with a kid right there?
Oh no! Yes, that was. I did like that. I thought that was great. What I didn't like was that when near the end, when the Enchantress is like, oh, I'll give you the dreams that you want to happen, and for Will Smith, it was like, boom, I kill Batman and my daughter stays with me. It's like, I mean, no, that's not your dream. Your dream is to be with your daughter, not to kill Batman.
Right?
What the hell was that crap?
You're right. Yeah. Right. For a guy that you want to be sympathetic, that was sort of an odd backpedal. Yeah.
Honestly, of the characters, the only one I kind of felt sympathy for was Diablo in the smallest way. The idea that this guy he loses his temper and he kills his entire family.
Sure.
And this movie is kind of his redemption, which I appreciated. I thought that was a neat little thing, but it didn't pan out. It didn't work.
Yeah. But again, even with that, like, I mean, he's sympathetic, because they're hitting you over the head with it. But even that I didn't quite understand, because then they show you the clip of him like just taking out half the guys in the yard.
Yeah.
Which happens after he killed his family.
Right, with the little king thing above his head and everything.
Right, yeah. But again, but
this movie can't be bothered with continuity, Joe.
Right. I mean, at what point did he learn his lesson and decide to? I thought it was after he killed his family. So why does he kill all the guys in the prison?
Right. They had this whole scene of him walking out of his own house with his hands over his head, like looking like pissed off and sad and distraught. Good acting on the guy's part and everything like that. But then, like a couple minutes later, he's blowing up a whole thing. And it's like, but I swore I would never do it again after my family, except here,
except for this one time.
Right. If they, and you know what, they could have easily fixed it if they had made it that like people jumped on him and he was just like surrounded by a bunch of guys, and all of a sudden you see whoosh flame, and he's just sitting there, kind of like holding himself. And all the people that were jumping him were gone. That would have worked.
I have a clip of him doing something before he killed his family.
Yeah.
Where like he's just fighting a gang in the street and he got caught on tape.
If you wanted to show him like Mr. I'm Badass, with that whole that would have worked as well.
Right. See,
already we're making improvements on this movie.
But it's such a bad premise. The whole premise is terrible. I mean, again, I mean, it's another one of these where I'm watching this and I'm so baffled by it, because I'm saying to myself, like, how did nobody realize this doesn't work? Like, why? I mean, again, and I think I said this before when we talked about it way back when. This was based on an actual story, right? Isn't that Assault on Arkham Asylum or whatever it is? And isn't that what this was?
Am
I mixing it up?
No. Assault on Arkham was a form of Suicide Squad. Absolutely, much better told. Much better told. But the difference here is Assault on Arkham just automatically assumes that you know who these characters are. They don't really give the introductions because they don't need to. The people that are watching the movie, they know who the characters are.
Yeah.
For the movie audiences, it was completely different. This movie is it's a symbol of impatience. Because if this movie had come, if the DC Universe plans had gone in a proper way of slowly building it up, like think of it this way, like the equivalent would be if suddenly the villains of Marvel's universe that have all been around so far had all gotten together and were under control of a crazy woman to do like these missions.
Yeah.
Now, and we had already established these villains. They could have done something like that. The problem with this movie is none of these characters had been established. Had you established them throughout the previous movies, you could have done a relatively kick-ass movie that would have been like, okay, we captured this one, we captured this one, we captured this one. Then 5 movies later, it's like, okay, here's Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Then you would have only had to introduce maybe 1 or 2 other characters, not make a big deal about it, but everybody would already be known. And then it might have worked.
You know what? And I agree with that. I agree that would have been better. But I think it still could have worked had they just done it better here. They take the time. They take way too much time to introduce characters in this movie.
Right.
So the characters all get their introduction. They get more introduction than they need. I don't even think it's that. I just think it's the plot that follows was so dumb. I mean, seriously, the plot of this movie is Amanda Waller puts this team together. Fair enough. Fine. But again, and she compares it to the mafia. Right, so you're going to do the dirty jobs, right? Okay. Then, by her own doing, Enchantress escapes, goes off and does her own thing. Now, okay, big beam shooting at the sky, we got it. Okay, all right, the end of the world's coming.
That's comic book 2.0.
Right. We introduced superheroes, by the way, who were nowhere to be seen when this actually happened. So what was that was really stupid. Why would you introduce Batman? Why would you introduce Flash, then have this happen where you're sitting there going, where's all the superheroes? Why is no one here to take care of this? Okay, fine. but then again, I never then they spend half of the movie they take half the movie introducing the characters, right? They're barely leaving the prison by an hour into this film, okay? Then I guess because the helicopter gets shot down, and I'm not even sure who shoots it down. I forget how that happened, but somebody shoots the helicopter.
Enchantress knocked it out of the sky with her.
From way the hell... Okay, fine.
Well, it wasn't... No, maybe it was the brother. I think it was the brother. The brother that had, the fingers and stuff like that.
Yeah. And by the way, again, there were no consequences for anything ever in this film. 3 separate occasions we see helicopter crashes. Not one person ever gets...
Not a scratch.
Not a scratch. Everybody is perfectly fine. Right, this helicopter nosedives into the street, flipping, rolling around. Everybody's fine, okay? Everybody's fine. So now I guess because the helicopter crashed, they have to walk halfway across town, okay? So for another, I don't know how long, you get these people just schlepping through town, kind of talking as they're walking. It's like a poor man's Wizard of Oz. Like it was like there's no like imagine the Wizard of Oz, but no color, no right, like but with no color and nothing interesting ever happening, until finally the guys show up, the black face, minions come, and by the way, I don't find whoever's in this design department and just shoot them. When I see these things, they just black and their faces are just things with just dots all over it. Like yep. I'm like this is like the weakest, most terrible design ever. I mean, the designs in these movies are just.
It was easy to animate though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these movies too. Like the designs are so just like it's like the first draft. Not even well thought out. Just we'll give him this and give him that. I don't know.
Well,
whatever. Anyway, so
the other problem with the movie, the biggest problem with the movie is that the squad is not supposed to go after apocalyptic situations.
Well, right?
They're supposed to be a covert team.
That's right. To take out like the little stuff. I mean, again, we have superheroes for the big apocalyptic stuff.
Yeah.
So, but then you get, of course, the whole thing. The mission is to go and rescue somebody from the city. Okay, I guess the city is instantly, completely under siege, and everyone is evacuated. I guess it barely even started, and the city's a ghost town or whatever. But we have to rescue one person, and of course they go, and again they go all the way to the building. There's one scene where Harley Quinn gets into the elevator and takes off. Right.
All on her own, nothing but her and her baseball bat.
Which I didn't, and it's not even like what's strange to me when you watch this again. And I know it's been cut up and recut, so like reactions to things don't match up. Like again, Slipshot tries to make a run for it. Boom, head's gone. Okay. Well, then Harley Quinn goes in the elevator, right? And they're all like, "Oh my God, Harley's taking up. What the heck? Oh my God, she's leaving on her own. Oh my God." And the idea, I guess, is that she's escaping to go off with the Joker. So why doesn't the guy blow her head up? I don't know. He reacts and they start running after her, sort of. Then right? I don't know either. Then she gets 2 fights on the way up with 2 of the black-faced minions, whatever. One pops up from the top of the elevator. I don't know where he came from. Another one comes flying through the glass. Okay, she takes him out. And then when she opens the door, they're all standing there, and she's like, "Hey guys," and they're all kind of looking at each other like something just crazy just happened. And I'm going like, "What did I miss? Wait, what am I not getting here?" And then of course they rescue
Harley Quinn.
And it was again, they're also shocked, like, "Oh my God, something crazy just happened," because she got in the elevator, and they go running up, and of course they're already there before her elevator gets there, so they got up there pretty quick. So I don't know how that happened, but whatever.
Well, if Slipknot had still been alive, I'm sure he could have climbed up before that.
Well, there you go.
But you know,
And then of course they rescue Waller.
What a twist!
and everybody is just stunned. They're just shocked that this happened, and it like oh my God, I can't believe this, and like they were so double crossed, and I'm going, what am I not getting? Who cares? Why is that such a big twist? I mean, she's the one she's basically your boss, so all you did was go and do work for your boss to rescue your boss. I mean, like, it's not like there was no hidden agenda. It wasn't like I don't know. I didn't understand. Then of course she shoots everyone else.
right?
Why?
Because screw everybody else.
Why?
Screw everybody else.
And I mean, they're all wearing FBI outfits. I mean, the one's got a shirt that says FBI. Why is she shooting again? What am I not understanding here? She's doing something that is completely authorized by the government to do. She got permission to do this. What am I not understanding here? That now she has to shoot all her own people. A lot of people, by the way.
I think my feeling was there's probably a missing scene there that explains that she did that to protect her own butt, because this whole situation is happening because she lost control of Enchantress, and she's trying to cover up for it by getting rid of any witnesses. That's kind of what I'm feeling, and even that's not good enough.
Right, because even that would not make any sense, because it's not like no one knows that it's the Enchantress doing this, right? The whole world, I think, knows at this point. So that was just baffling, and then of course, whatever. Then Harley Quinn runs off with the joke, huh?
Yeah. You're going to run out of steam real soon.
I am. I mean, I feel like I could just go on and on and on. It's like one scene for the next. I'm just scratching my head. I don't get it. I don't understand what they're even trying for with this movie.
One of my biggest problems with the movie, besides everything that you just said, which I agree with 500%, but one of my biggest problems with this movie is the memes or the memes, depending upon how you pronounce it. Mm-hmm. Okay, the memes of I wish I had a relationship like Joker and Harley Quinn. Have you seen those memes?
I kind of. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so there's a romanticizing of the relationship between Joker and Harley Quinn, and I'm going to kind of ruin it for some of you people out here when I say the following. The Joker doesn't care about Harley Quinn.
Right.
She is nothing to him.
Right.
If you think, no, you're wrong, he rescued her. No, that's the Joker that doesn't actually exist. That's the Joker that exists in this weird DCEU world. That's not real. He doesn't rescue Harley. He doesn't care about Harley.
Right.
You want to know how I know he doesn't care about Harley? Let's talk about that wonderful introduction with the purple Lamborghini. Flies into the water. Pudding, I can't swim. Batman goes down. No Joker. She's just lying there on the dash. Joker's gone. Oh, he loves her so much that he leaves her as bait for Batman.
Well, there's even that weird thing they do where she's chasing him with the motorcycle. That flashback where she's chasing him with the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And he's trying to ditch her. Right. And it's like, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. But again, why he's rescuing her, not for any particular reason. It's because this movie is poorly written, because one minute he can't stand her, one minute he wants to rescue her, and there's no consistency whatsoever. They don't write characters to be consistent and have their own thoughts and have an actual drive behind what they do. They write scripts just to make things happen.
It's like they sat there and said, you know what would be cool? Harley chasing after Joker in a motorcycle. You know what would be cool? The helicopter with Joker on it crashing. You know what would be cool? That's really all it is. This is all you know what really would have been cool? Like a bunch of people sitting around at a party, like when we used to talk about the movies we would make, when we'd be sitting there drinking and all that other stuff.
Right.
Like that. Only these guys actually had the money that we only dreamed of having, and they actually made that drug-filled cocaine pot, whiskey-filled jerk-off dreams that they had.
But it's and of course this movie becomes like the highest earning of the DCU movies because why? Because all we have to do is appeal to the crowd you're talking about, the dark eyeliner, Hot Topic wearing crowd, and these are the people who went to see this movie, and these are the people who think that Harley Quinn is so cool, and I mean all the girls who lined up to dress up as Harley Quinn that year, it's like they were gonna do it regardless. These are the ones who went to see this movie.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's like I said, she understands Margot Robbie understands Harley Quinn better than the movie does.
Okay,
okay?
Yeah, and she made it work. She gets credit. She made that work.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about it. We've danced around it. We got to the point, but it's now time to talk about Jared Leto.
Go ahead.
The hell?
Yeah.
What the hell? The first picture I saw of the Joker with his artificial grill and his damaged written on his forehead as a tattoo, my first thought was, what the hell are you doing with the Joker? The Joker doesn't tattoo damage on his own forehead. The Joker tattoos damage on your forehead.
Right. Yep.
He doesn't... the purple Lamborghini was perfectly within Joker realm to do. I was quite okay with the purple Lamborghini. Everything else about the portrayal of this character, and I can't decide if it's Jared Leto being a crazy douche or the writing, but whatever it is, holy crap, this is easily the worst portrayal of Joker ever.
Yeah. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, and I've tried to sort of give that a chance again and say, well, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but you're right. It's so kind of lifeless. I mean, it's strange because of course you have to hear all these dumb stories about Jared Leto left like dead rats in his his co-stars' lockers or whatever. Like he was so weird. He was gonna be so weird and he was gonna live this part, whatever. It's so flat, so boring, and so again to make the Joker just kind of a gang member.
That's not the Joker.
And I can understand you're trying to go for a quote unquote more realistic take, and you're trying to do what hasn't been done better by other actors. I get that. I get you're trying to do something new. But yeah, this was not the thing to do. It really didn't work on any level. I mean, there's even like the scenes where they take one of the guys who works in the jail, and of course he's crooked, so he's hanging out in the club and he's gambling, and they pull him into the back room, and all the gangsters are standing around him, and he's kind of like, and then the Joker shows up, and now he's really scared, right? He's, oh my god, this just got serious. This is the Joker's here. Oh my god, like he's supposed to be. It didn't work. It didn't work, and just Jared Leto just does not have the presence, and even again the lines they give him were just so weak. When all that scene where they're in the club and he's in the I don't know what, like the back area, the champagne room with the other gang member, and he says oh, your lady's pretty hot, whatever. The whole thing was so dumb. The guy's like, I
don't even know what that was trying to show.
I don't either. I don't either. And the guy's saying, like, I don't want no beef. And the Joker, oh, you don't want no beef? You don't want no beef? Or whatever. And it just sounded so silly coming out of him. It was a really weak scene. And exactly, like you said, I don't get what that's supposed to be anyway, either.
I try to tell myself, because David Ayer is not a bad director. I try to tell myself that at some point he had better ideas with how this was supposed to come together. I try to tell myself that. Here's a couple of things to note. Some things, and more of a reason why I say this movie should have been like 2 more years from now as opposed to right now. Okay? During the introduction to Harley Quinn, one of the things that flashes up on the screen was that she was that she assisted with the murder of Robin.
Right.
Okay? That's kind of a big freaking deal to just put up on a freaking info dump like that. Okay?
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, and I only found out about this later on. Do you know why Joker wears a grill?
No.
Why his teeth are metal?
No.
Because after he killed Robin, Batman beat the crap out of him and knocked all of his teeth out.
Oh, okay.
Why didn't we see that?
The better movie that we would have rather have seen than this.
It is just told as a freaking one-line subtext, between Batman v Superman with ha ha ha, the joke's on you, and now, co-murderer of Robin.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Oh my
Thanks
God.
so much for rushing through to try to play catch up when you could have just gone at your own pace. This is emblematic of everything that is wrong with the DCEU. Instead of taking your time, you rushed.
I mean, and it's so strange, too, because, again, like you're saying, they fast forward through everything that could be remotely interesting to get to what, in another movie, I would have called the meat of the story, but they fast forward through all that to get to what? To get them wandering through the streets to do nothing? To talk?
To go stop at a bar.
To stop at a bar and talk, which is obviously thrown in later, by the way, because we need to have some scenes with these characters, whatever. I mean, for a movie that has nothing happening in it, you're fast forwarding through all the good parts. I mean, even the part where you see the Joker, when they do the flashback of Harley Quinn meeting the Joker, and it's like, and you think they're going to start to get into the whole, this is how he's going to kind of get into her head and all this other stuff. Even then, like, there's no sense of subtlety. They can't do anything with nuance, with intelligence. She starts talking to him, and 2 seconds later, he says, "I need you to do something. I need a machine gun."
I need a machine gun.
They fast forward, like he goes straight to, "I need a machine." Really? That's how we're just like nothing of any substance here. Just, I need a machine gun. Okay, the end. That's it. I'm saying to myself, what?
A single Batman movie. Remember how I said we needed a Batman movie between Man of Steel and Batman v Superman?
Yeah.
A single Batman movie with her as the antagonist. Not even Joker. Have the Joker just be kind of like this background thing. The Joker's disappeared a couple of years and Harley Quinn's looking for him and she's doing a rampage and that's what Batman's doing or something like that. You introduce the character of Harley Quinn that way you get her established.
Yeah.
Then you do Suicide Squad. When you get to Suicide Squad, again, no Joker. We know her story. We know she's crazy, blah, 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 blah. The last shot of the movie would be, you know how the movie ended with Joker breaking her out of Belle Rev?
Yeah.
Dressed in the costume? That would have been the last shot, the first time we ever see Joker, and she goes, "Pudding!" And the last shot you see is him pulling the trigger and shooting her.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a 10 times better story than this entire thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, now you've got me thinking to myself, man, what they should have done was, like you said, if they did a solo Batman story with Robin, where by the end Robin gets killed and the Joker's in it. I mean, kind of like the red. You ever see Under the Red Hood? I know you have.
Oh yeah, of course.
Phenomenal animated film. 10 times better than anything here.
Can we just pause for a moment, ladies and gentlemen? If you see a DC animated movie on Netflix, on Hulu, on any of those services, watch it. I guarantee you'll have a better time than any of these movies that you've seen so far.
Totally. But I mean, now you got me thinking about what a 10 times better film that would be if you had Harley Quinn, the Joker, Batman, and Robin. Robin is dead by the end. And, the last shot of that could have been like the first sighting of Superman, which could have led into the next one.
Exactly.
But that's a better movie right there.
You would have had the progression of Batman becoming the cynical jerk where he's like,
yes,
screw these bad guys. What have I been doing all these years, going easy on them? Now you have a justification why Batman's a murderous dick that I would have been okay with for Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
There's a whole backstory that they worked out that they decided, you know what, instead of this stuff right here, let's start right here.
Yeah.
All that other stuff isn't important. No, all that other stuff is actually important to these characters.
Right. Right. I mean, all the interesting stuff is happening off screen, someplace else. It's happening like we didn't see it. And again, why? For this, so we can walk through town, rescue Amanda Waller twice, and then end up where the Enchantress is. And again, looks more like the Ghostbusters finale than anything. They're just standing there doing nothing. standing there for like 10 minutes talking to the Enchantress, and again, worst character ever. Looks terrible. The CGI was terrible. The origin is ridiculous. So seriously, we had an archaeologist who walks into a cave who finds something, and the first thing they do is crack the head off it, because that's what an archaeologist normally does. Let me find something and break it. That's what we do.
Like the world's worst Lara Croft.
Seriously. Oh my God. It was ridiculous. The whole start was ridiculous. And then, it was just so poor. Yeah. So then in the end, the whole thing with her ripping the heart out, it's just so, so not creative at all. Oh my God. It was so ridiculous. And then even on the way there.
But June lived in the end. Isn't that nice?
Just so ridiculous. It was so stupid, so convoluted, so nothing. And again, seriously, why would you have this little cast of misfits doing exactly what they would not be doing? They would not be saving the entire world. Have them do a more appropriate story, a more appropriate stakes. Seriously, that's why everybody's looking at Harley Quinn saying, why would they take her out of jail? She's a 90-pound girl who has nothing but a baseball bat, and they're going to put her up against they opened the whole thing with the premise. What if Superman flew into the White House and snatched the president right out of his chair? Well, okay. And Harley Quinn's going to stop that? Harley Quinn is going to be able to prevent that somehow.
They could have done so many things. They could have had it that, hey, there's been a revolution in Santa Presca. Santa Presca is key for certain elements that we need to combat, blah, 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 blah. We're sending you down there to find out who the guy is and take him out. And the person is Bane.
Yeah.
There's the better Suicide Squad right there.
Right. Something. Seriously, they should have had them doing dirty work. Not like, we have an actual legitimate threat. There is somebody who wants to, the whole world is going to come to an end. Let's bust out the Suicide Squad. No. Call the superheroes. You had Flash show up. You had Batman a couple of times. Let them handle it. And by the way, that Flash scene was terrible too. Flash is also a dick, by the way. Do you know? Captain Boomerang and his sidekick rob something, okay? The Flash absolutely positively must be aware that this is happening, right? 2 seconds later, Boomerang throws the boomerang, killing his own guy. And then who shows up? The Flash, okay? And the Flash who's standing there posing when he shows up, which is sort of really weird. And says something. No honor among thieves, I guess, huh? Hey, Flash, you could have got there a half a second sooner and caught the boomerang, just kind of like you did in Batman v Superman. Remember that? You could have caught the boomerang and rescued the other guy. No, I'll wait till he kills the other guy, then show up. A guy who can be there in no time at all. So again, now Batman's a dick and Flash is a dick.
Everybody's dicks. Dicks for everybody.
Dick, 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 dick.
How many dicks is that?
A lot.
And speaking of how many, Joe, it's time. Let's score this sucker. Can I go first?
Yeah,
you're why? I'm going to go first. Just screw it. I'm going to say it, okay? Only because we have said nothing gets a 0. It's got to be 1 through 10. Does this movie get a 1? I would make this a 0 if I could. I would make this a -1 if I could. Well, we got to follow our own rules. Unlike the DC Cinematic Universe, we're actually following our rules.
My friend, I am right there with you. I am going to give this a 1 as well, because I really, again, it's like the things that I just mentioned, it's borderline offensive where, again, the heroes are all jerks. There's nothing happening in this. I've never seen a film that really, when you look at it, so little actually happens. It's talk. Nothing happens. There's no stakes. There's no nothing. It's just, the CGI is terrible. The characters are terrible. The story is terrible. The lack of a story is terrible. The editing is obviously terrible. The music is terrible. Everything about it is just awful. And when you stop and think about it, this looks to me like a low budget film. It really, when you think about it, it looks like a film with no budget, because nothing happens.
Yeah. And we know they spent a lot on it.
That's what I mean. I mean, when you watch something like, you made the comparison that this was their Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy looks like a big movie where a lot happens and visuals you've never seen before and everything is so striking. And this one, I mean, had a comparable budget and it looks like it's a low budget film. Nothing is really happening. Incidentally, by the way, I just mentioned the scene in Batman v Superman where Batman throws the Batarang at the Flash, right?
Actually, that was Justice League.
Excuse me, Justice League.
Which goes to show you just how freaking interchangeable these damn movies are.
Right.
But go on.
I was thinking about that scene again, and then I was thinking, how many years ago was X-Men Days of Future Past, where they do that incredible scene where Quicksilver is running around the whole entire room to Time in a Bottle.
Yes.
I mean, that scene was just amazing. That was so well done. I mean, it was this amazing scene. And how many years later we finally get around to Justice League and that kind of Batarang shot, that's all we really can hope for. That's the best they can do. That really goes to show you just how little creativity is actually happening in any of these DC films. And like I said, there's a lot I can forgive, but just that kind of lack of any creativity I just find it so appalling. And even, like I said, it's funny, and people have said before, well, Justice League, or rather, Suicide Squad's a little bit better than Batman v Superman because Batman v Superman takes itself so seriously and all this other stuff. I tell you what, I give Batman v Superman more credit for trying something, or at least having something in mind and failing, as opposed to this, where I don't see anybody doing anything remotely interesting. I see it's like they just went out and just filmed a whole bunch of scenes and we'll put it together later, and that's it. There's so little happening in this movie. It's mind-boggling.
Offensive is actually a very appropriate word. I like that. The movie is offensive because there's nothing at all redeeming in this movie except for Margot Robbie, which is probably going to be our mutual for our considerations.
Yeah.
All right. Which brings me to the next topic. Who asked you? I mean, Joe, there is a lot of things we would change. We actually discussed many things we would change. So I'm very curious, which is the one thing that really just gets you?
I'll tell you what, I was originally going to talk about the character design, especially in those the minions, the guys with the wart face people. I thought it was the silliest I swear like an 8-year-old would draw that. And somebody
do you remember the video game Dragon's Lair?
Yeah.
All right, do you remember where Dirk has to go up against the lava creatures and they're walking around, they're going bloop 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 bloop? That's what those things remind me of, but black.
Yeah.
Bloop 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 bloop.
I mean, the creative, the design, the visual look of this film, except for a couple things where they so poor. But I'm actually gonna skip that because now I've kind of talked myself into something else.
Okay.
I wish they left all of the superheroes out of the film. As much as when you actually watch it, they're probably the highlights of the film. Is when you finally kind of the same way I was sort of complaining. I said, when we talked about Batman v Superman, and I said Wonder Woman was my pet peeve. Not that she was the highlight of the film. However, it just goes to show that she doesn't belong in it, and that you had to sort of like season it with something else that doesn't belong to try to crack a smile out of people. Here, it's sort of similar. They put Batman in, they put the Flash in, and frankly, it was sort of like the best parts of the film, because at least you saw a superhero here and there, so that was something. Mm-hmm. But what was the effect? Batman is a jerk both times. In both his appearances, he comes off so poorly, and the Flash the same way, because the Flash, as far as I'm concerned, sits there and lets the other guy get killed before he decides to show up and arrest Captain Boomerang. Right. So, and plus, at the end of the film, when, again, all hell is breaking loose, and apparently this is the end of the world happening, where are they? So if they were smart, they would have just left them out altogether and tried to write away, make up some reason why there are no superheroes around and left them out of the movie. Because the overall effect is damaging. And again, of all the crap in this film, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Wow. I mean, okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. I mean, and for the reasons I said earlier, mine's the Joker. Absolutely the Joker.
Yes.
There was you could have had this movie just be about the, as the background, the specter of the Joker, rather than having being an active part of it. Because then at least you could have still evolved the character instead of this mishmash introduction that we got that made no sense for the Joker that we have known through the years. I mean, let's talk about the most infamous Jokers. You've got the Cesar Romero Joker, all that stuff and everything like that. But for most of us, that was the informative Joker. The Crown Prince of Crime, as he used to call himself. And over the top, jolly, and so on and so forth. Then you have the second. The second biggest Joker would have to be Jack Nicholson in the Tim Burton Batman. And what an impression that is. I mean, you've basically got, Jack Nicholson playing himself as the goofy little murderer and stuff. Then you've got Mark Hamill's Batman in the Batman animated series.
There you go.
Do you see what we're going with here?
Yeah.
With each step, the Joker gets a little bit more close to his true comic counterpart. With each one. Until now, you've got Heath Ledger. And I understand that trying to follow up from Heath Ledger is a difficult task. So maybe, just maybe, you shouldn't just have it be some kind of weird cameo in a movie that's supposed to be about something completely different.
Right.
The Joker deserves better than what was here.
Oof.
This is supposed to be the seriously most sinister man in the entire DC universe that's based on Earth as a villain to a character. That's who he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
This guy, I felt no intimidation from him. Each one of the previous Jokers, in some way, shape, or form, scared me a little.
Yeah.
Leading up to Ledger's completely terrifying me.
Ledger's opening alone was more terrifying than everything in this film.
Yep.
And the worst part of it is that in this film, the Joker contributes nothing.
Exactly.
It's like you said. It's a couple cameos, and he has nothing to do with this film, and he has no impact on this film. So you want to talk about not being scared or threatened in any way? He has no impact on anything that happens in this film.
There was no need for him to be in this film.
None.
Absolutely. He changed nothing.
So all he did was bring him in long enough to ruin the character and still contribute not a thing.
Yep. Congratulations. Good job, David Ayer. There's comic book 2.0 for you. All right, for your consideration, let's just make this brief because I'm sure we're both on the same page.
Let's just say it, Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie.
Yep, she did a good job as Harley Quinn. Like we said, she gets the character better than the film does.
Yep, she absolutely did. The way, I mean, her accent wasn't always correct, but for what they gave her, she still managed to have moments of true Harley as opposed to the crap that they actually threw out to us.
Yeah.
And God darn it, she kind of, that one flashback that they showed of him dancing where she's wearing the traditional Harley outfit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was my kind of geek moment. I was like,
there you
that's
go.
Great.
That was their. They threw you a bone.
That was the tiniest bone that they threw me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With that concludes the DC
God.
EU. And again, like I said, I said this in our very first podcast, but honest to God, look, DC, I'm sorry, we want
to like you.
We want to like you, and you had your time in the sun. You had Christopher Reeve Superman. You had Tim Burton's Batman. You had the Nolan trilogy. You've got some spectacular films under your belt. And DC will come back. Again, it is nothing against DC. It is against the few people who are writing the checks and making the DC movies who just don't understand the characters, don't understand filmmaking as far as I'm concerned. They can't just put a coherent film together. And look, we had Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman was a fine film. I like that one very much. The DC it'll get rebooted. They'll get it together.
I kind of like Movie Bob's little take on just basically use Flashpoint as a reason to reboot the entire thing.
There you go. You know what? Why not?
By the way, Movie Bob once said one of the greatest things that I've ever heard in my life. He said, they do a Flashpoint, reboot the series, listen to me very carefully, hire Michael Keaton to play the Batman Beyond version of Bruce Wayne and do a Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm in. Sold. I'm in.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. So what's next week? I think we're moving in. Are we moving into Star Wars territory yet?
Next week is Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Yes, I get the feeling we're gonna have a lot to say about it. I don't think we're gonna. I can guarantee we won't hate it as much as we hated this movie.
No,
but that doesn't mean we're gonna like it as much as we've liked other movies either.
Yeah, I have a hunch we'll probably be on similar pages. In fact, I know my score already. I'll bet you we're gonna be in sync.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to finding out. All I have to say is just make sure you pull out a bunch of those Member Berry quotes from South Park.
You got it.
Because we're gonna need them. All right, my man. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, y'all have a great night. Hope you enjoyed our review of the DCEU.
That's it. Enjoy yourselves, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Reviews Without Remorse podcast with Joe and Dave. Join us here every Thursday for a new episode. And be sure to check out the Reviews Without Remorse channel on YouTube and VidMe for spoiler-free reviews of new releases, as well as in-depth discussions of current and classic cinema. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider becoming a patron. You can find our page at patreon.com. As little as $1 a month goes a long way. All clips in this podcast are used for commentary and critique, and is considered fair use. No copyright infringement is intended.
Assemble Task Force X. We have another suicide mission.
Yahtzee!
Joker stole a dirty bomb hidden somewhere in Gotham.
Telling me where it is. Now!
Aren't you even going to say hello? If I didn't know better, I'd say you're trying to kill me. It's time for a very big bang.
Something's wrong at Arkham. I know how to defuse them. We've been played. Better off on the own. You think any of you have a shot of getting out alive without me?
Just like old times.
Say goodnight. Do it.